What I was going to support what my colleague is saying is this. That is true. When you look at our independence and you look at the constitution that we negotiated in Lancaster, when the British allowed us to be independent, and I'm using that word very cautiously, they gave us a constitution that was different from how they ruled us. So they gave us a parliamentary constitution. Now, the first president was supposed to be the prime minister. As soon as we got that parliamentary constitution, yes, the first amendments that we began to make on that constitution was to turn it into something else other than a parliamentary system. And that's where the term of imperial presidency comes in. We began, with our elites who took power, began to want to look like the queen. And they wanted to use a structure that was more of the king, queen, and the crown, and therefore taking power more and more to themselves as opposed to the people. So when my brother here says that we need to transition, we have tried to transition with our 2010 constitution. When you look at our 2010 constitution, it's very transformative. The unfortunate thing is that we haven't transitioned in our thinking and in our political thought process. So that today, most of our politicians have a problem with the current constitution because it is rather too advanced for them. They are clawing back and wanting to have things that are behind. So if you look at a number of legislation that we've had in this country over the years since 2010, a lot of them are contradicting the constitution, and every time the courts are invited, they are struck out, they are struck out. Today, when you look at a finance bill, as it's proposed, a number of items in there contradict the constitution. In other words, we haven't matured our culture into that of constitutionalism, so that whatever we want to do is rule of law. For now, is ruled by law. So that even some of the arguments you're hearing about the retirement of the President Uhuru and so on, you can't have a law that takes away the liberty of a person just because they have served as a president. So to the extent that you are telling the president to retire from politics by law, you are actually denying him his constitutional right by the constitution. So that law is unconstitutional. So you can see our mindset and our thought process and what we do contradict what we aspire for, even as we have a progressive constitution. So it goes back to what we are saying. Of course, he's talking about leadership. I would say, what is our culture? It is us as a people who have not taken power or who have decided to release power to people who are not helping our cause. And so, in the process, the leaders we have reflect the people that we have. So when you are taking a bribe to elect a leader, when you are deciding not to go and vote, you are allowing those who are bribing to have their way. What are you doing? You are acceding to our situation. And lastly, when he's giving hope in terms of what the President Ruto is likely to do tomorrow, absolutely no hope from where I sit. He's either going to be disruptive because he's going to tell you about dynasties and how he wants to turn things upside down. But he's not going to tell us how that is going to give us progress over the next 20 or 30 years. Because at least Vision 2030 told us where we're going. The economic strategy paper gave us where we're going. Sessional paper number 10 gave us where we're going. I'm waiting to see what blueprint or what vision this regime is taking us or is implementing. And remember, I tie this regime back to the Jubilee regime. Because President Ruto hasn't just come from blues, he was there. The only thing that we've seen over the last 10 years is we ignored Vision 2030. We ignored anything that we had ever done, and we just started, flying without any rudder.
Thank you.